Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And everything is for fair use and entertainment and educational purposes only. And the copyright disclaimer is in my description box. Tyre Nichol murder with them 5 police officers has triggered me, you know. And I said in my last live, like, how did they know him? I felt like he was targeted, you know. It felt like some gang stuff. It felt like, he was a op to one of those officers. I said this in my last live of him. Everything is allegedly. But come to find out, they said, he worked at FedEx. And one of the officers' baby mama worked at FedEx. And they say, Tyre has some type of dealings with this woman, allegedly. So that's, what's going around. So that brought me back to my story of what happened to me with these police officers. I have a neighbor. She's a dishonorable veteran or discharged veteran or whatever. But she called the police on me like every day or every other day. She even tried to put a PPO out, on me. And we got so tired of the police being called and sent to our house for no reason at all. At first, we was calm and civilized talking to the police, but when they got here, they was like, oh, it's your fault, like pointing the fingers and yelling and stuff like that. So it got to the point where we started going outside yelling at the police, like, why is y'all here? Why is y'all keep doing this? It felt like, harassment. While she sat next door laughing, like she knew somebody at the police station, which she did know somebody at the police station, because while in court for the PPO, which got thrown out, the judge threw that mess out. She got right on the phone and called somebody by the name of Debbie Cheese, and it clicked in my head, when I went up there and told them that they officers came to my house while I was visiting my hometown, Chicago, for a 70th birthday party. She said that somebody was shooting, and these same 2 officers that just was rude and very disrespectful to me, and I started yelling at them and started calling them racist and stuff. I watched these 2 officers from way in Chicago on my phone beating at my window. I mean, they was beating at my door, beating at my window. They had these big old guns drawn out and stuff. And I didn't say a word until I saw the white officer trying to take my camera down off the back of my house. And that's when I yelled through the camera, and I told him, I say, hey, what is you doing? Why is you touching my stuff? Why is you taking my camera down? And he was like, oh, no, I was just fixing it. It wasn't nothing to be fixed, That's the way I had it. And then the other officer said, well, it was reported somebody was here shooting. I said, well, ain't nobody there. Ain't nobody there. But only reason why I said wasn't nobody there, it was a person in my house. But I said it wasn't nobody there because I sat there, I watched the Breonna Taylor story. I watched the George Floyd story. I watched the guy's story in New York, So I said, no, wasn't nobody there because they had these big old guns out. They had these big old guns out, y'all. And I thought they was finna get ready and come in my house. The way they was beating on the door, banging on my windows, looking all through the windows. No search warrant, no nothing. No nothing. So I was scared for that person's life, because I believe if I would have never said nothing through them cameras, they was going to break in my house. That's how I felt. That's exactly how I felt. And then the story changed when I said something, called down there and asked for the chief of police. They told me the chief of police, they left me a message. And they said the chief of police was Debbie Cheese or Baker or something like that. But I'm going to show y'all the screenshots because I keep everything. And I remember that lady when we was in court, she said, you know, she called when the judge dismissed the PPO order, denied her. She hurried up and got on the phone and said, Debbie Cheese. That's what she said. That's how I knew she had connections to inside of that police station. Yep. So they do lie. They do change their stories. But whoever I was talking to on the phone that I thought was the chief of police, come to find out, it was another guy that said he was the chief of police. I'm going to show y'all that too. And somebody tagged them on Facebook. I'm going to show y'all. I'm finna show y'all some receipts. But Tyree Nichols, his situation is like very triggering, because I'm like, dang, we all deal with police like this. They all need to be retrained, even though it didn't commit my situation, it didn't cause death or nothing, but it could have caused death or some bodily harm. That's how I feel. Because it's a police officer some years ago that's in that very same, police station, set up there and tried to cover up a murder of his girlfriend, and she was 8 months pregnant with their son. And then you had his fellow officers lie for him. That's why I don't trust them. Like I said, this is not just Memphis. This is everywhere. And I sit back and be like, oh, this would never happen to me. You see it on TV with, all this stuff going on TV with George Floyd and everybody else. You think this will never happen to you? This will happen to you. This will happen to you. Seriously. But I'm finna show this to y'all. I'm gonna show y'all my evidence is why I don't trust the police. I already told y'all why. Because they lied. And then the guy say, well, my officers put in a report that they was just trying to reposition your cameras. Why? Why even touch it? That is not your property. Why even touch it? Then for two, y'all kept letting this lady call the police call y'all out here, knowing doggone well we didn't do nothing to this woman. We wasn't doing nothing to this woman at all. We didn't do nothing to this lady at all. But y'all kept coming out here pointing the finger, making it seem like, we was the villains. But it did look like we was the villains after a while, because we got tired of them coming out here. So yes, we was coming out the door cussing and fussing because we was sick of it. People get tired. People get tired. They all need to be retrained. And like I said, it was the very same police officer that's sitting in prison right now for killing his 8-month-old pregnant girlfriend. And he had a wife. And then tried to cover it up and lie and say it was, he wrote a suicide note and all types of stuff trying to cover it up. Try to cover it up. But I'm finna show y'all this. And this is why I don't deal with the police, why I don't trust the police. They all need to be retrained. They all need to be retrained. Because they abuses their authority. They abuse the state authority. They talk to, us like we trash. They talk to us like we trash. After I get up and I go to work every day and they take my tax money to put in y'all damn pockets. And to be sit up there and lied to and get the runaround. I even went down there and asked for my police reports. The lady at the front desk said, I don't know how it worked, but the lady at the front desk said, oh, you don't have no reports here. I said, how come not? The police been to my house over 100 times. Oh, well, if you want the one that called the police, then I can't give you that information. Well, my name is in that report. Why I can't get that report? They came in contact with me too. So they refuses to give me the reports. They refuse to give me the reports. Yep, they did. That's what they did. But like I said, YouTube, my copyright disclaimer is in my description box. And this for entertainment and educational purposes only. This is about police everywhere in America. And I mean everywhere in America. We are not safe. I believe we are not safe. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some good cops, but it ain't too many of them. And it's not too many of them.
Michigan State Police believe Jenny Webb, 8.5 months pregnant, was murdered and staged to look like a suicide. Their suspect? The father of Jenny's baby. Buena Vista Township police officer Ken Blue, first on the scene that night, and as it turns out, back again.
I go out to the crime scene. State police are there, crime lab's there, and lo and behold, who comes pulling up in his civilian clothes? Ken Blue.
To the crime scene?
To the crime scene.
What is he doing?
He's trying to gather information of what's going on, and he was ordered back to the station and stay there.
Back at the Buena Vista police station, Sergeant Ogg is shown evidence photos from the night before. Photos taken by none other than Officer Blue.
So, when you first got a chance to see the evidence photos, you already knew that the suspect is the one who had taken them.
Yes.
That must have been pretty creepy.
Very unusual. Never have had a case like that in my career.
I'm curious, when Officer Blue cleared that scene that night, he probably thought he was done and in the clear.
Yeah, he probably was. He was asked by his chief to remain at the police department to be available for my interview. I would say at this point, the wanting to give the appearance of being fully cooperative, nothing to hide, he did that and sat through that interview.
That interview, about 9 hours after Jenny's body was found, would be conducted by Sergeant Ogg and Lieutenant Jason Teddy. It starts like 3 cops just hanging out.
Is that gonna do it all day? Man, you are one important dude.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I'm just playing now.
Yeah.
Just messing around. I'll shut mine up too, so we can all behave.
But things quickly turn serious.
Just tell me what happened tonight. What's going on here?
Blue says he was patrolling the area when he saw a stopped vehicle.
So I drive in behind the car, focus the spotlight, and about that time, Tim's pulling up.
He says he and Officer Tim Patterson approached the vehicle at the same time.
I started to walk kind of towards the driver's side corner, and as I got closer, I saw the door open. The back driver's door was open. Took a few more steps, and I saw her laying on the ground. I saw the cord running to the top of the car. I'm like, gosh. I yelled at Tim real quick. I said, hey, we got a body.
Blue says he found the suicide note in her purse, then went looking for the victim's identification.
Found the wallet, opened the wallet up, went through the wallet, found the ID. And at that point, I went, oh, I know this girl.
Did you guys check for vitals? Why not?
I don't know. I guess probably not to disturb. Well, I mean, there was no movement, and when I looked, there was, from a distance, there didn't appear to be any chest rise. Lips were kind of bluish. It wasn't giving me the impression that it was, that she was alive.
Blue goes on to say he's actually known Jenny for 10 years. They were friends, recently seeing each other once or twice a month.
How did you not recognize her when you first walked out?
Given the position that she was in, and it was, that's the hard part.
I don't mean to sound like an ass. I'm just thinking, how would you not recognize her?
Just kind of go into cop mode at that point. It's just, okay, what do I got to do?
But you got a good enough look at her to see that her chest wasn't rising and falling, that her lips were blue.
Right. I said, that's not a position that I ever see her in. When I see her, she's got her hair done. So, here, a guy like me and Al is struggling with this right now because we're looking at one of our own sitting here and going, how do you talk to a guy about this?
And I'm sure you saw it coming, but
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, once I realized I knew her, okay, bring it on. I mean, it's gonna happen, so.
but there's a lot of things that have come up already that, I mean, they're flags, brother. They're flags.
I know.
During the interview, Ogg notices some scratches on Blue.
He had injuries on his body that were very suspicious. In particular, he had a serious injury to his one eye. His claim was that the night before he came to work, he had been wrestling with his dog on the floor or whatever, and the dog injured his eye.
It's right on the inside
Yeah,
corner.
right there, she caught it, I told you.
One of his co-workers had eaten dinner with him during their shift that night and sat across the table from him, and that co-worker said there was no injuries, nothing wrong with his eye.
Blue also had a Band-Aid on his right index finger and scratches on his head and his forearm.
You know what that looks like? If I were to grab you with my fingernails, what would I leave? Is there any possibility that her fingernails are going to have any DNA underneath them?
That's part of it. I mean,
I don't know.
I wasn't there.
Multiple times during the interview, Blue denies ever having sex with Jenny.
Jennifer's baby, who was the father of that child?
I have no idea.
Is there a chance that you're the father of that child, Ken?
None. None. Never slept with her.
You've never had a sexual relationship with her?
No.
Is there any reason that she would have told people that you were the father of that child?
Not that I know of.
She has.
Come again?
She has told people that you're the father of that child. Her family was well aware of who the father of that child was. Didn't know you personally, but was well aware of what your name was, where you worked, what you did, and everything.
Wow.
No possibility of that?
None.
Eventually, detectives ask for a swab of Blue's DNA, but he first needs to sign a release.
When I requested of him to sign a consent form, he hesitated before signing it.
Why is it that I'm feeling more and more like a suspect every time? Every minute that goes by here.
And then just before he put pen to paper said,
I can tell you one thing, though, guys. I did, in fact, sleep with her.
Coming up, Blue tries to outwit the detectives,
I believe without a doubt he thought he was smarter than everybody else.
and investigators take us to the scene of the crime.
We believe they met here, they talked here, and he killed her here.
All right, y'all. That's the same station that did this to me.